Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Brace for Impact. It's episode 31 now, Parks.
Woo!
Parks, I don't know if you were rocking it out, if you were just
I'm.
got a little,
Whew,
had a little head bob
I
going
got a
on
little
in there. You
energy.
were
I
like,
got a little energy.
yeah, no,
I'm
not me.
too much time playing Minecraft.
Yo, real talk. It is. I forgot how much fun it is. I
Yeah.
never really have played modded Minecraft, by the way. I was always a vanilla guy.
Are you starting to get into it
So
then, or is that where you're going?
Yes, I love it actually, but it's just there's so much additional materials. I'm like, I have no idea what the heck makes
You pick an
anything. I
achievement
was
book
like,
and you run with it. I'm taking care of the
I
animals. You'll take
guess,
care of the
man.
quarry. We'll sort something out in the savannah.
We are gonna sort something out in the savannah. Anyway, Minecraft aside, always fun. You know what I'm gonna be playing during the player break. I'm already
Yeah.
looking forward to that. We got a little bit it's not going to be as deep in episode Parks, but we
No.
do have a big tournament that happened. More on that in a little bit. Let's start with the news since it actually affected that tournament. But let's start over in news that didn't affect that tournament, and that's nouns. So last episode, if you remember,
Yep.
we had said that Nouns was entertaining the idea of signing Cat 5, that the offer was on the table. They always put it to the vote of their members
Yep.
or whoever owns a Nouns token, I think it is, or something like that. It's like a dozen members. It passed unanimously. They signed the team. So Nouns has signed Category 5. Big signing, another name in the impact space, which I think is great. I
Yeah.
think if you look at the offer, it was fantastic
Yep.
because the team gets a little bit of money, so they are salaried, but it's a smidge of money.
It's a small time salary that you get
Oh
as if
yeah,
you were in like main or advanced. It's one of those. It's
yeah.
it's a and it's a
Oh, I think it's even less than that, mate.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing, right? It's in that range. I've talked to Matt about salaries before and kind of concerning that kind of thing. And that's kind of where it's a fair price to come in with. And the other big thing that I really love to mention all the time is it's a 3-month prove it contract. It is nothing. There's nothing huge here. There's no we're
Yeah,
committed to this team for 2 years kind of thing. It is a we're gonna do this for 3 months. We're gonna see where it goes. If we want to continue to invest, we will. If we don't, that's the end of the contract. We go from there, and maybe they branch in with another team.
yeah.
Potentially a Karma, a Totsugeki. Well, I guess all signs point to Totsugeki being turned into a different team now, but I'm going to continue to mention their name
Yeah.
until we get some new result on that. Which
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Totsugeki, so you would have to shine some light on that. I just know there's a lot of
movements.
roster volatility.
Yeah,
Like it's NA.
that happens.
It wouldn't be NA without roster
You know
volatility,
what?
wouldn't it? But
Here's the thing, though. There's not a lot of rosters, so that means there can't be a lot of roster volatility. However, in EU, you got like 40, 50 teams. I guarantee you there's a lot of volatility over there, Benny.
there's listen. There's about equal number of changes every season. Okay, and they have 3 to 4 times as many teams. So, I love NA. I want NA to do better or do best. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people think real quick, right? Because we do have a little time and some people think I rag on NA just because I hate NA. I don't hate NA.
Yeah,
I'm
you
born
do.
in NA. I'm NA born and bred. No, I don't hate NA. I just I'm the kind of guy. I'm the kind of parent, right, that would want best. Like I would want if I had a kid, I would want him to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And the only way to do that, like to me, is not the tough love, but like you got to push him. You got to make sure that he understands, like that he is like everything's in his control. And if he wants something, he's got to work
100%.
extremely. He's got to outwork everybody. You know what I mean? And that's my mindset. And that doesn't sit well with about 80% of North American advanced players. So that's it's one of those things where like I actually do like the league and the division and the region. I want them to do best. So I constantly try to push them by pointing out what they need to work on. And a lot of people
They
don't
don't like that.
handle that well.
No.
So
Well, speaking of
anyway.
roster moves in NA, we did receive official confirmation from Tsunami Sirens, specifically from Tsunami. This is actually one of the really cool things I love about King, at least, and how Tsunami kind of run their org,
Yeah.
is they had the official announcement saying, hey, just so you guys know, Chigan is going to the bench. She was, as many of the teammates have said, she was the glue that kind of brought that team together. They took it from Fluffy Amers White, brought it over into the Tsunami fold, which was huge. They had a very good placing,
What
and
a banger season.
they've
Yeah.
secured next season as well. So There's no reason for the
They
team to
were a
disband.
step from the land too. Like
It was
this
crazy.
insanely close.
Like
Yeah.
you talked to King about it, and he was probably like 3 seconds away from booking a ticket to Valencia to go with them. Not even like just because, like not even like, oh, I'm the owner, I should come with them. I got lots of money. No, he would have done it and probably gotten bankrupt. He loves that team. He loves both his teams so much. So great to see such a big thing from him on that. But no, with Sheegan out of there, I think she's looking for opportunities. I'm not sure. She's just kind of evaluating where she's
I
at.
believe so. I'd have to look at the tweet again.
Yeah, and the trial replacement right now that we've seen
She
so
is looking
far.
for team, by the way.
She is looking for team. There you go. So the trial
Yes.
replacement that they've been running with so far has been Robin, RBN, who was playing with Totsugeki. Ergo, the whole we don't really know what's happening with Totsugeki, but no, Robin's a really good piece.
Yeah.
I've seen so many different like things come from Robin where it's just like she is so very good at this game, or she has such a drive when it comes to strategy and doing IGL work and all this other stuff. It's just like some of the teams, I don't know, I don't want to say they took her for granted, but there must have been some kind of issue with personalities because, like, damn, they fumbled hard, and those teams that like they looked good on paper, but there was personality issues coming on the inside, and they just. I don't know. If Robin ends up on this team, she's in a much better. I think she ends up on a great spot in a great team with the potential to really push even harder than they did this last season. So we can't confirm Robin is there, but I putting her as my first choice for that team is A1. Like she's just amazing. So cool to see her come forward.
I had a smile because there was an old Twitter account, really old. I don't think it's tweeted in a long time that I followed, and it's called No Context Hearn, and it's Eddie Hearn, the boxing promoter in the UK.
Yeah.
And when you said there's sometimes I feel like I don't know how they've thought like Robin's won the rounds that they've won or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a famous clip of him, right, going to shake somebody's hand, and he curses. I'm not gonna curse. I'm not gonna use it, but he goes, "Bloody hell!" He goes, "How'd you pull that one?" And I feel like when Robin's in a clutch scenario, that clip is constantly playing in my mind because I don't understand how you win the rounds that you win. Like
it's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see where Tsunami Sirens go with that. And again, it's not 100% they haven't put out an announcement or anything. I haven't heard anything else after that, but like it's looking pretty good, and I think we'll have a little bit of answers going forward to say a little bit more regarding that. Final kind of big roster move just by player. ATK, they are losing a true one there. 2SSB is retiring. They enter in with.
All right. In the notes I said retiring, and then the post it says she's stepping away from Counter-Strike. Now, if you put that means to me that means you're retiring. You can always unretire.
True.
MJ did it. You know what I mean?
How many players have we seen like step out of retirement? I would consider literally all of G2 Oya. Like a lot of those girls that came back, like they stepped out of retirement. If you're like, I'd say if you're leaving for another game, you're retiring from the previous game to go to a new one. Like MJ retired from basketball to go play baseball. So there you go. No, so yeah,
it's a banger reference since I dropped the MJ earlier. That's very, very good. Yeah. Anyway,
so Queen has joined in place, so she will take her spot with the rest of the squad. And,
I don't know if I haven't. You know what? I probably should have looked it up prior, but I'm pretty sure she's actually played on ATK before.
I mean, that would make some sense.
Oh God, come on now, please. Wikipedia has so much info. I type in Queen, and it gives me a retired Swedish player, and I'm like,
it gives you nothing. I'm gonna go look on the ATK page instead. I'll go fast.
Yeah, how about that? That's actually
they don't have one.
Yeah.
What a waste. What?
I know.
God,
that's 30 seconds to the plot. I wish I had back, but no, there's a lot of that's another region, by the way, that has significant roster volatility. In fact, the reason ATK is as good as they are in that reach is because they are objectively the team with the least amount of roster volatility.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you're the biggest org in the area, at least in my eyes.
I mean that too. You're not wrong, but the main point is, like you said, it is 2SSB out, Queen in to SSB stepping away from CS, sadly. One of the greater South American players as well. Like 2SSB has been a staple
Yeah.
in South American Counter-Strike or South African Counter-Strike. Sorry. So it's always gonna happen.
We're
Right?
getting
It's
there. We're
always
getting
gonna
there, Benny. We're
happen.
getting there.
Maybe, I don't know. It's almost as frequent as me calling FlyQuest CLG still.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, I think the roster picked up. I think ATK picked up probably the best option that they had available. I think Queen's a really good player, so I don't think ATK, at least in terms of the South African scene, because obviously they don't get an opportunity to play elsewhere.
Yeah.
Hoping that changes in 2024.
Don't count your chickens,
but
please.
yeah, I know, but I think they're not going to skip a beat.
No, 100%. All right, that does bring us into the last 2 points here, and I think we'll leave the finalist thing to the end because I think that makes the most sense. I don't know about you, unless you want to talk about that right now.
No, let's talk about that now because the Atrix thing should lead into our.
Well, I know the Atrix thing does, but the finalist for Premio Women's Player of the Year. Okay. I don't know if that exactly leads.
Let's talk about it now. There's no harm, no foul.
All right.
So finalists. So Premio is like it's really funny because there's something with this. The E has an accent over it, but
Premio.
Yeah, but
I could say it worse.
It's like Premio Brazil is doing a Women's Player of the Year, right? And they had like a whole list of nominations. It was like 8, but they narrowed it down to 3.
I remember. Didn't we go over this? There was like a list of 8 of them, and like 4 of them were on 4 of them were on B4, weren't they? Not B4.
Yeah. Julie was the only one that wasn't. I'd be like,
which one was?
But
who does B4 play for now? I feel really bad.
Fluxo.
Fluxo, thank you. Look at me, I'm fucking doing it
now. So, what do you call it? The
so
finalists.
Have 3 finalists.
Yes, are Bops from MIBR, Ka, the AWPer from Furia, and Junger, the AWPer from Fluxo. Now, I want Junger to win this.
Yep.
Because she's my favorite player of the 3. No disrespect to the other 2.
But
I don't know. No, not disrespect at all.
I'm trying to get you.
Trying to get me in trouble with the Brazilian scene, man.
Yeah, I really am.
What do you call it though? I don't know who you give it to. I actually, there's a world I can see where Junger finishes 3rd in the voting.
Why don't we spin a wheel?
I'm not gonna. It's not Wheel of Fortune. This is Price is Right. I'm not gonna walk over in a giant.
Is this your spot? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just 1/3 of it is your first.
We get all 3 of them to spin the wheel, and the top 2 go to the showcase showdown. Okay, that's how it works.
You play rock paper scissors, best of 3. You get top spot. I think that's how more of these awards should be given out. You need extracurricular skills and a little bit of luck.
If I'm gonna pick one, I think it should be Bops. And the reason I think it should be Bops is because she came from another team. I want to say it was Black Dragons, but it might not be Black Dragons.
Hold on.
But having an old person moment here. But anyway, she came from another team. She did well previously before MIBR, and she's a big reason why MIBR has had such a resurgence. Probably the best MIBR have looked in a while. More on that.
So. Just
in a little bit's time.
Just one quick point there, because I did look. Yeah. She played for Black Dragons, played a little bit for Macreas, and then went to MIBR.
Yes, correct. Because she played the qualifier for Macreas for Season 4, which is why MIBR couldn't use her in Impact Season 4, and they had to use a stand-in. But she played for Black Dragons at the Season 3 LAN.
Yes.
She was with Black Dragons for Season 3. Big reason why that team was so damn good and got to the LAN over everybody else. Big reason why they almost knocked out B4 to get to the semifinals at that LAN.
Yep.
So really solid player. I think if you look at these 3, I want Junger to win it, but my vote, as if I had an independent vote, would go to Bops. And that's not to take away from Ka, because she's been really, really solid for Furia, who have found a whole nother level above everybody else. But more on that in a moment as well. But I think if you look at just an individual surgence of what Bops has been able to do for both of her teams, first Black Dragons, now MIBR, I think you got to give it to her. I think she's just the best player in Brazil right now.
Cool.
All right.
I think I would go with Ka. I think I would go with Ka
Okay.
just because of
Okay.
how dominant Fury have been. That's just kind of where I sit.
Yeah, I
I
thought
think
about that, but then I'm like, the first half of the year they really weren't. Like they were still finding their feet,
yeah.
and you know
I
what I mean.
listen.
Like by that,
I'm a very shallow person, Benny. I will look at the smallest amount of things and just go, you know what? That looks pretty good. Like, you
yeah,
know when you
okay,
window shop and you see the thing that's shiny and they want you to pay for it. It's like, yeah, I can see why. I don't know. $5 isn't that much money. Like, I'm a kid in a candy store. I see candy and I really do like it. I'm gonna go with
that's fine.
Ka.
I mean,
I'm a basic
the,
guy. I'm a basic
the
guy.
right, just a little bit more down that path. My thought process was, you could say, okay, you know, because of how dominant Fury had been.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, right. But they weren't the first half of the year. So then I look at it and I'm like, B4 were, and Junger was especially
Yeah.
good. And you could give it to Junger based on that logic because B4 were really dominant up until
Yeah.
recently. But then I'm like,
So maybe
but
it's
then
just
up
been Babs all
recently they
along.
haven't been.
Maybe it's just
And
Babs. It's been Babs all along.
that's why I'm saying it's Bob's, because I'm like, it's a player that is really the
Just
cornerstone
consistent.
for
Yeah.
a team that went to LAN,
Yeah.
and then now is part of this resurgence that we're seeing from MIBR. So,
Could you imagine? Can you imagine if MIBR were able to play with her in Impact season? Like,
oh, they'd be at LAN probably. They'd probably
that's
be at LAN ahead of Fluxo.
yeah. I was gonna say.
Like,
And I think we'll get into that in a second here. But I think that I think there's some cracks that need to be addressed. Anyways,
yes,
final little piece of news because we dragged this on a little too long. Atrix have signed Macres, and
yes,
the important note to that I'm not sure how I feel about it
yeah.
is
Me neither.
that
I'm conflicted on
I
this.
am very conflicted. The report coming in from Dust to Brazil and everything like that has pointed to Bakor's father being the org founder, right? So he's the one who
Right.
created this organization, and they have a very good idea behind it all. I gotta try and find
The article.
the article. Yeah, hold on, let me pull
I
it up.
definitely sent it to you in the
You did. No,
DMs.
I was. It was right there. You and I went back and forth on this a little bit in talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
They mentioned something. Basically,
So Bokor was upset at the headline because it does the
yes, the
headline
headline's
said,
not great.
father of Bokor creates organization and hires his daughter's team. Like,
Factually correct. However, when you
yes,
read that, you go, nepotism.
there's a
That's
tone that it's implicating here, right? That
which
there's something wrong with it, which
which
there is a conflict of interest. Like that, the main idea is it creates a conflict of interest,
it
right?
does.
Because if the other players do not think that, like, let's say there's a scenario where the other players want a better IGL and they don't think
Yeah.
Bokor is going to get them to where they want to go, how do you remove her? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Like,
how does
is
the
there
team move on from her?
suddenly a pressure that you have to keep her
Right.
because her which 100%
Right. He can't appease her and
and the team
the
at the same time.
team's wishes,
Yeah.
and that's what the conflict of
Which
interest is, right?
100%. At the same time, I look at that and I go, their mission statement is very much, hey, let's support women, let's support
Yeah.
content creators. Our staff is going to be almost all like women.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the only man in this organization. And that is because they needed somebody to create the thing. So you look at that as like a father daughter. He is supporting her dream. He's supporting her passions. Beautiful storyline. Lots of potential there for them to grow because they have the support kind of behind them. So it's huge in that form. But yeah, the conflict of interest is there. At the same time, I'm gonna look at that and gonna go, like.
I mean, it depends. Like, I don't know.
It's
Like,
a direct.
I don't think there's
I don't know.
salary.
I
is
look
my
at that.
point. Like,
I look
I
at
don't
that and
think
yeah, I don't know. I look at that and I go, yes, it's a conflict of interest, but like, how many times have we seen conflict of interest pop up by relationships starting because of orgs and their players?
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
this one is
League
just
had the most infamous case.
exactly this one. Like, this
So,
one's just kind of out there from the beginning. The other ones, like, they just kind of happen and people are whatever. Like, people are gonna be people.
well,
No, but this is the
well,
thing. People are gonna be people. Okay, put it this way: people are gonna be people, egos and other emotions are always going to happen, and like teams could get dropped with a drop of a hat because somebody says something that upsets somebody else, or
I mean,
somebody has a favorite player on the team. That team gets dropped because they wanted to keep the organization wanted to keep the player
yeah,
over the
that
rest of the squad.
happens a lot. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't think you should just launch yourself into conflict of interest. And I'm not necessarily
one
saying
hundred
that's what
percent.
Bocor did here, but I think people need to understand that conflict of interest is a really serious thing.
Oh,
And it's not whether or not the conflict arises. A lot of people in esports, like the fans specifically, don't understand that
yeah,
conflict of interest isn't a problem because it's not one of these things where, well, there could be, but if
yeah,
it never happens,
and
conflict of
whatever.
interest is an issue
When it
because it
is,
it potentially could happen. Like the
yeah,
whole point is that you have to potentially avoid that. That's why if you ever notice, I don't know if Canada's the same way, but in the United States, whenever you apply for a job, even
mm,
they ask you, do you have a family or resident that works at this,
yeah,
for this company, because they have to avoid a conflict of interest. You can have that. I mean, one of our people at work has that, but like what the husband works in logistics, the wife works in marketing. It's two different departments. They don't
yeah. There's
conflict.
no
You know what I mean?
conflict. Yeah.
It can't be something like, you know, they're both in logistics. They work in the same department. One's a superior, one's not. You know what I mean? Like
Well, there's the whole thing of like
you can't have that. Yeah.
you report your
So
relationship when you get into one because they want to make sure
right.
that there's nothing there.
And usually one of the two people wind up getting moved out of the department to avoid
Anyways,
the conflict, right?
exactly.
But Bocour said this: we created an org where 99.99% are women, 100% of the sponsorship goes to the players, all
Yep.
of the team and staff who handpicked everything from Atrix. My father embraces the idea and helps us connect with brands. That's translated by Google, by the way.
Mm,
Just
yeah.
so. Um, I I like the idea where 100% of the sponsorship goes to the players. That
Yeah.
the org is mostly women. All of the team and staff who handpicked everything from Atrix. That's the problem we're highlighting. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that could create an actual conflict down the line. That
Yes.
is the problem. So, um, do I like it? I like that another team's been signed, but do I
There can be issues that will arise in maybe
yeah,
6 to 9
I'm
months. You
very,
know,
very cautious. So
it's
I don't
yeah,
think they're salaried though. So that is not intense a conflict of interest, right?
yeah.
But I think you know.
It
Look,
is something
I'm
to keep
happy
an eye
for
on.
them.
It's
I hope
something to
the
keep an
brand
eye on.
grow. Yeah, I hope the brand grows.
We're
But
gonna be skittish about it. I think is the best
yeah,
way to put it.
that's the perfect way
We're
to put it.
skittish about it.
Yeah,
We like it, but like at the first sign of trouble, we're bolting and going back into our rat hole. Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
out of
yeah,
here.
yeah,
You know, I'm not
yeah, yeah,
sticking
yeah.
around to see. Okay.
So the big reason why that was important is because they played their first official competition as Atrix over
Yeah.
the I think was it last weekend or weekend prior? I think
It
it was
was the
weekend
weekend
prior. Yeah.
prior, the 16th
Yeah.
to the 18th. It was the
Yeah.
weekend after we did our little bit of
It's
a
so
lead up
odd that
to.
they started on a Thursday, by the way. Like they usually start these things Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but
Yeah.
it did mean I got to watch a lot more Stash Masters. Anyway,
Yeah, went Thursday
more
to
on that
Saturday.
in a minute.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. More on that in a minute. But Masters Feminina 8, the big tournament. This is a $12,230 United States like your USD tournament, right?
Yeah.
60,000 Brazilian now. So it's a big tournament.
Yeah.
And it was over the weekend. So Atrix beat Fluxo, mind you, in the Super League of Feminina, which meant that Atrix was actually the number 2 seed. Fury were the number 1. Those two had the buys.
Yep.
4th and 5th seed had to play each other, and that was W7M and MIPR. Now, W7M got the better of MIPR in the qualifier, right? That's why they got the 4 seed.
Yep.
Fluxo had to play Catabreso, which was the 3rd seed. Or Catabreso was the 6th seed. Fluxo was the 3rd.
Yep.
So we start with those opening 2 matches. Nuke for W7M MIPR. W7M would get them again 13-6. Fluxo would beat Catabreso 13-6 on Ancient Dispel. Not a surprise for the Fluxo result. A little bit of a surprise for the MIPR result, but this W7M team is the new one. Kami, Luli Tensle, Josie, and Hera. And, we know how good Josie is.
Yep.
We've seen Kami and Lei on Black Dragons previously at LAN. Pretty competent players, pretty good side. That meant that MIPR and Catabresa went to the lower bracket. We got to the upper bracket semis, right? Furia played W7M. That was an intense ancient 13-11 the way of Furia.
Yeah.
And then Fluxo had to play Atrix on Overpass. OT Pass is back parks.
It never left. It never
left. Fluxo 13-6 in overtime on the Overpass would drop Atrix to the lower bracket. And my parks, MIBR, there's something about Brazilians and long best of threes. There's something about Brazilians and overtimes because the opening match on Friday was MIBR and Atrix.
Yep.
Atrix took Nuke 16-14. That was their map pick. MIBR won 13-8 on Mirage. Hear me out now. Furia is the only team in Brazil that will beat MIBR on Mirage.
Yep.
They were the only team that MIBR, no matter what roster they've had, Mirage has been their most preferred pick, and they constantly win on it. MIBR then won 16-14 on Overpass. This was a 4-hour and 7-minute best of 3 in MR12. Okay.
Yeah.
It was insane.
The funniest part about this, though, is that it still had less rounds than like a full best of 3 would have in MR15, because it was 16-14, 16-14, and then 13-8, which is 20.
Yeah, right.
So like, you could have gotten the equivalent of that is like a 16-5, you know?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Or
equivalent that's probably like a 16-7, 16-6.
No, but I'm saying like in round count, like if you went directly into an MR15, like that, I don't know. It's crazy to me. So yeah, Atrix being dropped. It's an unfortunate way to go out.
Yeah.
You're going up against
for Atrix, yeah.
It's horrible.
The number 2 seed going out in 5th, 6th, mind you. But
I think this highlights Brazil the best, is like any team on any day can take it. You can absolutely take it to. And the fact that Atrix had 3 out of 4 maps go to overtime, like there's something there. It's just it's not fully there, you know. But no, great, good showing from them in terms of like getting the high seed to begin with. It's unfortunate the way they went out. But I mean, it continues.
Well, you can't fault them. I mean, they played super hard.
You played arguably the second and third best teams in Brazil, and you kept them very close both times. So that's very good to see from them. Keep going. We're gonna keep going with the lowers here. W7M went up against Calabreso. It was as well a 2-1, 13-8, 13-2, 13-7. So W7M maybe need a little bit of work on Anubis, I think is the
yeah, I think what the other thing too is that it economy is just really bad. Like,
yes, the economy is.
They were on T side that first half, don't get me wrong, but like matches can really snowball in MR12 because economy can be very hard to control. And
100%.
It was one of those things where like W7M, I think, won the pistol. They won the second. They won the pistol. They converted. They were 2-0 up. They lost the gun round. They save. They lose the next gun round. They save. They lose the third gun round. You're now like 6-2 down, mate. Like, you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It's just, and the half is almost over. Like, so it's just one of those things where it really snowballed away from
counterpoint. Just be better. No.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, but it's still
no shade. I am joking.
No shade. So
no shade.
So that meant MIBR would get the rematch versus W7M.
Yep.
Right. Mirage, Nuke, and Anubis again. You just don't stop picking Mirage again. Stop leaving it open for them. Right. They'll punish you on it. They did for W7M 13-5. Nuke went the way of MIBR 13-9. And it was one of those things where W7M had a hard time getting the economy going on CT side because they dropped the pistol.
Yeah.
And MIBR took full advantage of that, right? So it was one of our only 2-0s. There were only 2 2-0s in the entire weekend. So that puts MIBR in the lower bracket final. Upper bracket final, Furia and Fluxo, they picked Anubis. Do not pick Anubis versus Furia. This is the coming of Anubis for Furia.
Yeah.
Anubis seems to be one of Furia's #1 map picks now, right? We know they can play Mirage. We've seen them before, right? We know they play Ancient, but they absolutely dominated teams on Anubis, right?
100%.
They smoked Fluxo 13-4 on it, and I'm like, whoa, Flux. This is a map that Fluxo really pride themselves on, because Fluxo is this team that constantly plays like these offshoot maps or these new maps that come in their map pool to try to spring it on an opponent, and they got absolutely handled on it. So Fluxo went to the lower bracket. Fluxo would win Nuke 13-4, no problem. That was MIBR's map pick. They go to their own map pick, and they drop it in overtime, 16-13, which was Anubis.
Yep.
So Fluxo seemed to be experimenting with this Anubis pick. It's not really working out for him.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's not. It's unfortunate. And of course, the coup de grace was MIBR winning Inferno 13-5. So
You want to know what the crazy thing about that Anubis was, by the way?
yeah.
So that Anubis, it was 6-6 at halftime, right?
Yep.
MIBR ran 6 rounds in a row to start the second half to go to 12-6, and Fluxo ran 6 rounds back at them to force the overtime, and then just fumbled it away in the overtime.
Damn, I
was
that.
like, you came all the way back from the brink, right? They were T-side, I think, on that second half too.
Yeah,
I'm like, you came all the way back on the brink.
They were CT side. They were CT.
Oh, they were CT side. Yeah, but and you fumbled it away in the overtime. But then, like you said, 13-5 Inferno, which Fluxo do play Inferno. That's a because we've seen how good they are on Inferno. Like, I know they lost to Enigma at Season 3 finals, but like Inferno was like, they really, really were solid on it. They really could position you up in different places and try to really keep the opponents off the back foot on that, but no, they just didn't get it going this time. Grand final was 13-1 for Mirage.
Hey, remember when we said don't pick Mirage?
Well, but then that was for MIBR, and they didn't get going.
That's right.
The problem they had was they had a huge tech delay. Reggie Ann is not in Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro. I think she's in the northwest part of Brazil, and they got hit with a really bad storm. It knocked her power out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Danny, literally early in the series.
Danny stands in for Rejane partway in.
Reggie-Ann, yeah.
Reggie-Ann, yeah.
So So they had to stand in the Donny, who played really well on the Anubis. They took Furia to the edge, 13-11 on Anubis. But by the time Reggie-Ann subbed out, I think of the first half of the Mirage, I think like MIBR were like 8-0 down.
She went,
and this was like their third.
So she went 1-6.
So okay, so they were 6-0 down.
Yeah,
and that was the third tech pause of the map. So like you can tell they weren't playing with full strength the whole way. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. So
yeah,
Furia have won their 5th. That's right, 5th Masters Feminina tournament.
Pretty cool.
Out of 8. So yeah, it is pretty cool.
Sorry, she played 7 rounds. Sorry, I just wanted to.
Okay, so they were 7-0 down. Okay.
No. They won one of those rounds because she survived.
Okay.
Sorry, I just
did. She could have saved. She could have saved.
No. But they won a round in the first half, and she went 1-6, so that kind of makes sense to me.
Okay.
Because then Danny went 1-7. So.
Right. The crazy thing is about this, by the way, is Gamers Club are really, really innovative. They had a theme. You know how they have the theme?
Yeah.
So their theme this time was like old arcades.
Oh, right.
Old retro video games.
Yeah.
And what I think was really, really subtle. I think I picked it up on stream, but what was really subtle. I wrecked the VODs, by the way. So the VODs are unwatchable. There's no audio in the VODs.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately. Yeah, no audio at all. So if you didn't watch it live, you didn't catch it at all. Is what it is. But they had this like camera scrolling by these arcades, right?
Yeah.
That they had set up, and like that, just like this camera pan. And what they did is in the background they had like 4 of these are actual arcade machines, and they would have like pixelated versions of all the players.
Oh,
Like on the
cool.
left side it would say like W7M, and it has all the players. You
Yeah,
see like
yeah, yeah.
Donnie, blah blah blah, or not Donnie, but you know what I mean, like,
Louis
Hera, and all that stuff.
Emmy.
And then on the right it would be like MIBR. That's the matchup that's coming up.
Yeah.
The 2 in the middle just had like the Gamers Club logo, but
Yeah.
then in the background it had that pan shot, right? Like of the camera going by these arcades.
Right.
And each arcade that it was panning by on that screen had a different theme from the previous Gamers Clubs.
That's
So
pretty
like
cool.
7 was cinema,
Yeah.
and 6 was oh god, I can't remember what 6 was. 7 was definitely cinema. 6 was fantasy, and 5 was like medieval fantasy, and 5
Yeah.
was zombie apocalypse.
Right.
So as the little screen that has the little arcade screen that's the Gamers Club logo scrolling by other arcades within that screen, you see like the zombie apocalypse,
changes
and then
themes.
the
That's crazy
fantasy,
cool.
and then and I'm like, yo, the production value is insane. And they made the whole trophy to look like an 8-bit trophy. Like the whole, it was a big trophy, but like an 8-bit
You can
trophy.
tell
I was
they
like,
really care. Like they really
put
like
a
what
lot of effort
they
into it,
love
yeah.
that stuff. Man, I love that.
I'm
I love
like,
that so much.
we need to get that for a North American tournament or something, right? Like other tournament organizers
That'd be
need to
insane.
pick up on that idea
Yeah.
and do like a whole theme, because they got the players real quick. I don't know, but they get the players to do content for like the breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the content is like they all spawn in and played like a knockoff version of like Bomberman. And they're all playing like Bomberman against each other. You know what I mean? And then they had another one
That's
where they're
awesome.
playing like pixelated football, and we're all trying to score the goal and stuff. And it's like it's
that
2D
sounds
football.
that sounds to me very CS Summit, but CS Summit was just super relaxed. It didn't have a theme with it. It was just super relaxed.
Yeah.
Ironically, this is going to be a bit of a segue, but that sounds a lot like Mustache Masters, because every single season they got a bit of a theme.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that's true.
What better way to talk about them than this year's theme was the Olympics? So
it was funny.
It was
Some
so
of them were funny.
It was so good. So yeah, let's jump on over to that one, because I think we're all good with Masters Feminina, right? We pretty much hit everything.
Right.
Yeah, Mustache Masters 2023. Benny, who was the top donor?
Oh, don't start. It's not about me. Don't start. Don't start.
You need like, honestly.
No.
But here's the thing, okay?
No.
We hit $16,000. And I know a large portion of that was you. I'm not going to say the exact dollar amount because that's stupid. I agree with you. That's
I don't care.
I don't even remember. It was like something like 2.7K. Like,
no, it was 3,700.
Yeah, okay. Oh my god. Like literally a fucking quarter of the. Okay. Anyways, lots of money went forward.
I guess it almost is, isn't it?
Yeah, 250.
Right.
Anyways, they hit $16,000. It's insane. The amount of support that came through. We had 3 full women's teams participate.
Great.
And we had myself participate with Ellie and Olya.
Wait, hang on. I only knew of 2. Who was the third?
Cat 5.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Benny.
How did I forget Cat 5?
Benny, who do you?
Yeah.
I knocked out Cat 5.
No.
Marks,
what have you
I
done?
talked to them. I talked to some of the players afterwards, and they're like, I talked to Bella, and she's like, I was trying so hard, the rest of my team could not care. And I was like, listen, you have to understand, as a caster, I went 110% the entire time. I was not losing. I needed that W. Put it this way, in 4 years of play, or I think this was my. Is this the 5th year? In 4 years of playing, including this one, or sorry, the 3 years before, I had never won a match in Mustache Masters, because I always come in with the pug team, right? So you don't have. I think the seeding
as
is
most teams do.
Yeah, the seeding is mostly them, but I was just doing it with my friends, right? So all of us are kind of low level. We're just there to have fun, right? We're not. Then we go up against like Peeker's advantage. It's like, what are we supposed to do? But no, I've never made it I never gotten a win before. And the closest the win that we got in a previous year was one of the teams forfeited because they weren't able to participate the day of, so they didn't play. But I don't count that shit because
Right.
I need to get the 16 rounds. Well, now it's 13. So yeah,
Right.
coming into this one, I was like, I'm a suit up, and I brought in Olia and Ellie, and bless Ellie, she carried so hard. So did Olia, so did Frack. Snicky and I were there for the ride. Like we both of us were enjoying the
What was
absolute love of
your
this.
team name?
Sorry?
What was your team
Oh,
name?
we were Freeze Time version 2. I came back
Oh,
with the
that's right.
previous
That's
team
right.
name. Anyways,
Oh, look.
the two teams that we actually need to talk about here coming through all of
Right.
this is FlyQuest Red for accepting an
First off,
invite.
being invited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that was the whole thing, right? Is they always try to invite 4 teams a year. This year they only got 2, and one of them was FlyQuest Red, so that's huge. I bet they would have had other teams tried, like other teams would have done it as well if the timing had worked. People's schedules have people's schedules. FlyQuest Red were there, and they were super supportive in chat. They were like, they were everywhere, and that's just awesome. And credit to all of them. And I mean, Evian Blesser was still in Australia, so they played
Yeah.
with Joel's, which was absolutely hilarious because it
And managed to get one of the most amazing clips.
yeah,
I mean, that
God,
cow day boost. Oh my god.
it is
Oh
something.
my god.
The other team that's that is needing to be mentioned here is, interestingly enough, Tsunami Sirens, who we're playing with Robin as the trial, and they had to play through the open bracket like all of us did. So they faced off against Cat 5 and they beat them. They faced off against a bunch of other teams and they beat them because you had to make it to the top. You had to make it into the top 6 to make it to day 2.
Yeah.
And I believe they got knocked into the lowers,
They did on
but
day 1. Yeah.
they managed to make it through, and they made a little bit of noise. I want to say they made a good amount of
A
noise
lot
going
of
through.
noise. They
Um,
did a lot of noise.
I think I just want to highlight this because Darth Mike and Ryan are I love those guys so much. Darth Mike has fully dyed himself blue, in his face was entirely dyed blue for
And then flown to blast,
and
by
then
the way.
no, so he dyed his hair and everything, right? And it wasn't really sticking. So he went while he was in Copenhagen and got it
Yeah, I saw he was
professionally
in the
dyed and
I think
everything
that's
because
yeah.
he wanted to make sure it was good. It was beautiful. But no, it was the funniest thing was because I was in there. I volunteer every single year and I try and help them as much as possible. This year wasn't as good because I was kind of battling something while playing, and then second day happened. I was still battling that little bit of sickness, so didn't get to help it as much as possible. But it was really funny because when I popped into the chat, they'd be like, "Yeah, I think we have to thank Parks for like championing getting these players." I'm like, "Nah, man, it ain't me. They want to do this shit themselves. Like they want to do them stuff themselves." Yeah. So it was very funny though that like they'd always like try to get fact checking and stuff done. It's like, you don't need to ask me, man. You just give it a second. They'll tell you. They know everything. They're awesome. So yeah, Tsunami Sirens. Benny, where do you think Tsunami Sirens out of the 8 teams to make it to day 2? Where do you think Tsunami Sirens placed?
So I know where they placed.
Yeah, but like let's come in as a stranger. You've
right.
You've listened to the podcast.
If you watched, here's the thing: if you watched that last series on day 1, right?
Yeah.
Where they qualified, right?
Yeah.
They were the 6th seed, or really the 8th, because of 2 invite teams. But
yeah,
they were the 6th team out of 6 to qualify.
Yeah.
So they were dead last in the qualifying. They were the last one through the door, I should say. They had to do it in like OT as well, I think, on that last map, on map 3 or something like that. It was a really tight series.
Yeah.
So you would have looked at them and said, yeah, they're definitely, I mean, they had to play EG first round.
Yeah.
So, nah. And they got knocked to the lower bracket on day 2 because it was both days were double limb, right? So, and you would have thought, right, there's no way FlyQuest slipped the lower bracket, EG slipped the lower bracket, it's over for them, right?
Yeah.
Didn't happen. EG wound up bowing out of the tournament because one of the players had a power failure, I believe, and they didn't have a sub.
Yeah.
So they just had to bow out, which is why FlyQuest took the route that they took.
And got to the grand finals.
Tsunami Sirens, if you were looking at that, you would have thought they would have finished 8th. Parks, where did they finish?
Aren't they great at this? They finished in 4th place. They tied with...
They finished in 3rd.
Did they?
Yeah.
I guess, yes, because Evil Genius has bowed out.
Because Evil Genius dropped out.
Yeah. So they finished 3rd, 4th, but we're going to call it 3rd place because EG bowed out.
Would it be 3rd, 4th, or would it just be...
It
would just be 3rd.
No,
You
they
would
bowed out
technically
fourth.
just
Sorry,
be third.
they ended up fourth. Sorry, they ended up fourth because they didn't win in the lower bracket semifinal. I'm looking at the
Who'd they play in the lower bracket semifinal?
Lag Gaming, who actually went on to win the
Oh,
tournament. Hold
that's
on,
right.
I'm gonna link
Okay.
this real quick. I'll link it to you real quick. I know where to find these links.
And then Lag gets the bye for EG
Against
dropping out.
EG, and
Yeah,
then they go on to play
I
FlyQuest
got you, I
Red.
got you, I
So
got you, I got you.
Tsunami Sirens, they lost 2-0 to Evil Geniuses at the start. You know what? A 13-5 and a 13-10 is pretty good. I don't think EG like. Here's the thing with charity tournaments. The teams aren't going to come in here and absolutely play their minds out unless there's somebody like a Tsunami who have a point to prove. Like, they want to prove that they're a very good team. Evil Geniuses, they're coming in, they're just chilling. You know, they're taking it semi. I would say they probably take it semi seriously. It's a no-win situation for them. They take it super seriously and they run through everybody. It's like, well, that's no fun. But you know, you don't take it super seriously and people call you out on it. It's like, well, yeah, it's a charity tournament, but you still kind of look bad.
Well, there's always memery and stuff that goes like, we're not taking as serious as in like, look at these amazing results, but it's worth mentioning that like
this happened.
They played well, and they played through the whole bracket, like, you know, both sides of it.
Yeah, and it was insane to see from them. So congrats to them for getting fourth place, and I mean that's a huge thing. That's why when we talked about Robin, it's like this is kind of, I feel it's not a shoe-in. But the results are speaking for themselves in terms of how they play as a team with Robin as IGL. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then of course FlyQuest Red, they took it to 3 maps. Or sorry, they didn't take it to 3 maps. They got the default in the first map for coming from the upper bracket, and then they lost the next 2. Is what it is. I could care less. It was a very good team. It was a very good team they went up against. Whatever, man. FlyQuest Red made the finals. That's huge. And both teams participating is huge, and Cat 5 participating is huge, and any other players that
you participating is huge.
That's not huge. I'm always there. I'm always there.
Kern, well, for showing up, like,
dude, there was a few. There was like, I want to say there was 5 or 6 LCA guys that played. In the tournament, which was huge.
It's important to shout them out because look, it's a really important cause. Like it's like the statistics that I always look at the mental side of things, and I think Darf and all them did a very good job of pointing out, like, no, this Movember movement is for like everything. You know, we're not here to talk about just mental health. Like that's as very important that it is. Like, we're here to tell men, like, you know, how important it is to get checked for, you know, things like prostate cancer and how to check yourself for that and for early signs of that, and like just physical health in general, because I think the two top, I'm speaking off of what I recollect, so it might not be true, but I think the top 2 killers of men in the United States is suicide and heart disease. And it's like,
it's a hard thing.
Big things that we can tackle.
Just
you know what I mean? So
just to kind of put a final bow on it, like my uncle had prostate cancer. I believe he's fine now, but like he got all the necessary treatments and everything, and a little bit of experimental treatments with him as well. But like, it's an important thing. You gotta, and they caught it right because he went to the doctors. He travels a lot, so he's lucky in terms of that. Like, he has to keep himself fit. He has to make sure he does the medical side of stuff. So, it's a really important thing of just not the mental side, but also check. The joke is check your balls. Well, check your balls, man. And that's, so I'm glad that everybody came through for a big checkup on that. We don't have too much time left. We're gonna try and breeze through the last of this.
the cash cups. We
Cups.
still have the cash cups.
We'll just breeze through it real quick. We'll just I think in this case we're just gonna mention the kind of the teams that participate in, like, I think that's kind of the best way to go about this. Let's start.
I mean, they're old by now.
They're old by now. Yeah. Let's start where we usually do, with the cancellation of all of the Asia Cash Cups. It's becoming it's more than a meme. I think it's gonna become like it's more of an inside joke now.
I really, real quick. I really don't understand why this is happening. Because now they're open tournaments, and you had the Filipino team and the Thai team, and I looked at those exchange rates, and they're like, it's good money. Like, it really is almost rent. Finishing second. Is almost rent for an entire month, like in some of these countries. So I'm like, look,
if they can't be asked, it's not gonna happen. If they can't be asked, it's not gonna happen. It is what it is. Like, I don't know what it is.
But like,
look, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe there's something. There's something else going behind the scenes on that. Next point of contact, the Oceanic
Oceania.
region.
Yep.
So Yarp seems to be on a bit of a success streak here. It's a very good team. Arya, Maddie, Noogs, Sarah, and Strawbelly. Very good team.
Yep.
They won the first one up against No Plan, which was Suneko, Miji, Kimbab, Noctra, and Rani. Interesting little bit here on the next on Cash Cup number 5. Yarp is still the same, but they went up against a team called Grandma Gamers. And bear in mind, this was during the Mustache Masters weekend, so like we were pretty tired at this point, but I think we watched, and Jade from Wanted Goons Bandits was playing. Bones was in there. Kimbab, of course, leading the squad. And two interesting names that kind of come through, and I talked to them afterwards. I spent a little bit of time talking to all three of them. Kira and Elenator, both of which used to play on Vox Seminar a decade ago. So that's
wow.
Yeah, they were. Wow. They did. They did not. They were having. You know what? To put it where it's at, they had a great time. They did not know what they were doing at all.
I felt bad because I was making the meme because Elenator, and I was like, first off, I was extremely tired. But did you do that Cash Cup with me?
Yeah, you and I watched partied it. You and I watched partied it, and then I went and talked to Jade and them for half an hour afterwards, and that's how I found out.
Yeah,
they used to all play on Vox Seminar together a long time ago.
I was like making a joke wow. Whenever Ellen would get the kill, it's like, but Ellen did. So I probably sound like an ass.
You know what, man? They had so much fun. Like I talked to them afterwards. Like they had not done that in a really long time. They hadn't played CS in forever. They just kind of Jade was down, so they wanted to do stuff with her, and Jade was like, I really want to play Cash Cup, and they said, let's try it. And so they had a lot of fun, and that's the coolest part about it is all these years later they come back to play, and they're like, yeah, we'll come back in 7 years again and we'll play again. We'll have fun.
Nice.
So really cool stuff coming out of
Africa.
Oh shit, yeah.
So not to just we do it to move things along. So
yeah,
South Africa. First Cash Cup had are we doing number 4 and number 5?
Yeah, it's 4 and 5, yeah.
Okay, so first Cash Cup had actually 5 teams.
Yeah.
And ATK, V Fortis, Evasive, and Extra Options. This was a prep for the Gamer Girl Pro Festival. That's why you saw these teams there.
Yeah.
ATK would eventually win it out 13-3, 13-3 in the final after winning 13-2, 13-0 in the semi. Not bad. They would also roll over White Rabbit Amaryllis in the 5th one, 13-8, 13-7. So ATK would win 2 in a row.
Nice.
And then so yeah.
As long as they don't get canceled in South Africa, I'm happy. That's where I'm at.
I hate that that's the base standard now.
Okay, but they haven't gotten an invite.
I get it.
Like
I get it.
It's not something I would like. It's just like if it had they need something, man. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of these other regions. Like Oceania could definitely bring a good team.
Yeah.
To one of the finals. ATK would be very interesting to watch, if nothing else. I don't know how they stack up because we have literally they weren't.
We haven't seen them in almost 2 years.
Yeah, and they weren't the South African side that went to IESF. Were they? They went to Romania?
Oh, they went to IESF. No.
Yeah.
No,
they weren't. No. I don't think they went. I don't think there was a South Africa side.
I think there was, but I don't think it was
right. It was the whole. No, it wasn't even a mix. It was that whole thing about you have to be a Scholastic or whatever. We talked about this with Newt.
Yeah, with Newt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Please.
ISF ruining, man.
Please.
Oh my god.
No, it's not. That's actually not ISF. That's the South African Gaming Board or whatever they call it.
Yeah, whatever.
That runs like chess and board games.
Yeah, you have to be in school.
Clueless. Yeah. Absolutely clueless about things. Anyway, let's move on real quick to South America because it'll be easy to talk about them.
Yeah.
The first one was Megazoid versus X Divina. Megazoid was a mix: Junger, Regianne, Josie, China, Bob. So 3 from MIBR plus Josie from W7M and Junger from Fluxo. Megazoids would win that 13-4, 13-3.
Nice.
Oddly enough, only 3 teams because I believe that was the weekend of the Sao Paulo event.
Yeah.
For Gamer Girl. And then the other Cash Cup only had 2 because it was the exact same weekend as Masters Feminina. So the funny thing is, X Divina signed up. Nobody else was signed up, and then Atrix went out really, or Atrix and W7M went out really early in the tournament and said,
Sure.
"Fuck it," and
Yeah.
that's my swear. But they went and formed a team, and Fazo picks, which is Hera Josie from W7M, Mari Sainon, and Yojina from Atrix, would win against X Divina 13-6, 13-3.
Cool.
That's South
That's
America.
South America. Next up, yeah. Oh my God, you did it to me because I was copying.
I know.
Next up then is North America. A little bit lower on the team count here coming up, and I think that was a little bit due to the tournaments that were happening around the time. Because I'm pretty sure Cash Cup number 4 happened during Super Gamer Girl Pro, if I'm not wrong. And then the Cash Cup number 5 happened during Mustache Masters.
Yep.
Very funny. So there was some delays and stuff that happened regarding that. We saw Team Awesome play in Super Gamer Girl Pro, and then at the same time, I think they went out early enough that they were able to then come back and play in the Cash Cup.
Yep.
I guess another noticeable team on this was Rat Peak was playing, and so Robin and LX were on that. They had Power, Alexa, right, and somebody called Aneurysm, which is interesting. 30-30, which is I want to say it's like the Coven core with some extra players.
Yeah, Jay Lee, Shivane, T Bear, Jandaya, and Alexi. Yeah.
Heartstoppers was in there as well. We saw Tippy, Pat was in there, Ari, Jellybean, Lula. So, and then of course Team Awesome, Bunny, Toasty, Scraft, Isla, and Catalyst. There was one other team, I don't remember who it is, and they aren't mentioned. Team Awesome ended up taking that one a 2-0 over Heartstoppers, 13-7, 13-9. But pretty cool to see.
The other team was Wime, and it was Namita, Camila, Ceciltia.
It was the Peru girls. That's
and
right.
Burbuja. And that's the crazy thing about this is, I'm pretty sure this is mostly Peruvian too, because I'm pretty sure Ceciltia and
it's the Peruvian squad that come around every once in a while. They sometimes are just like, hey, we got the
full squad this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually we only get Namita and Barbuja.
Barbuja, yeah.
So that leads to number 5. Only 6 teams signed up. The Tsunami Sirens, Zoomies Peak, which is Jaylee, Shivane, Alex Leet, Cannibal, and Genesis. Genesis popping back in for a second.
Love to see it.
Tatsugeki was in, but it was Mega Geese, Catalyst, Toasty, Gadfly, and Ari. And then, of course, Wanted Goons Bandits playing Pippi Sippy, Mama Alien, Reef, Tippy, and Cloudy. And it ended up being Tsunami Sirens winning out against Wanted Goons Bandits. Mind you, they delayed it because Tsunami was playing second day. So this ended up happening on the 20th instead of on the
Monday, right?
On the 8th, it ended up happening on the Monday instead of the Sunday because Tsunami weren't around and Wanted Goon Bandits wanted to play. So
interesting thing, real quick. 2 things about this one. First off, there was a team called Meow Uwu Girls.
Yes.
What a great name. The other one is that there was a team called Team Flash, Michi, Jellybean, CY, Tsunami, and Kichu. You know who that is?
It's the old Echo.
Old Team Echo. Yeah, there you go. So great to see them compete again. Shame they didn't go any further. I would have loved to see them go make a deep run, actually. But they had to play Zoomies Peak straight up, and they lost 13-11. So it was like, so close. But
good.
Nonetheless, that leaves us with one region, Park. That leaves us with Europe.
Just with Europe. Too many teams to mention this one, but way too many.
12 in the first one.
12 in the first one. Notable team being, I guess, then VP Angels and Encilio Female are the 2 I want to say are. Yeah, just looking, I can't really.
They're 2 org backed. Everybody else was a pug team.
Yeah,
and you can tell that because they are all like Russian mix of
Woof Woof, Waves, No Shy, Just Shine, Okame, Povezlo. There is no future. Great names.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, there is no future 1-2 over VP Angels, 16-13, 13-8. So Encilio Female did not make it past the first round of the quarterfinals. That's kind of where that's at. Number 5 coming up. More teams that we could recognize. Nine Pandas Fearless are in there. Gamer Legion Prism were in there. And Athena were there, and Spirit Female were in there as well. And you know what? It's pretty interesting what happens here. So Spirit Female beats over Ents Athena, who then themselves, or sorry, and then Spirit get beaten by Gamer Legion Prism.
Yeah,
which is
I was gonna
huge.
say the Spirit Ents game was interesting because that's Shia versus her old team.
Yeah.
Shia on Ents.
Yes.
Versus the team she just left, Spirit Female.
And then Gamer Legion Prism come in and beat Spirit Female. On the other side, Nine Pandas Fearless have been going through. They beat There Is No Future, who came back for a second attempt. And then you get to the final, and it is Nine Pandas Fearless over against Gamers Legion Prism. Gamers Legion Prism win 13-6 on Inferno, 19-17 on Anubis, and get their first Cash Cup win under an org, which is huge for them, and as well against Nine Pandas Fearless, who in 2 weeks' time are going to be in Valencia. So like, that's a lot. That's huge. That's big.
That is huge. That's very big. So, congrats to them. Interesting to see how, or if we get more of it, I should say, right?
Yeah.
So, those are your Cash Cups. That's us caught up on the Cash Cups. That's us caught up on everything going on, except one more thing, Parks.
Oh yeah.
Except one more thing, and that's we got a Prime Valencia for you. Now,
yes. Hold on. I got something. Hold on one second. I gotta grab something. There's something really important I want to show.
Okay. Edit. It's a pod edit.
I didn't think about it until now. You ready? I'm gonna hide it.
Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah.
I know what this is. Yes, the Shimmer jerseys. Where's the back?
The Shimmer jerseys.
What's on the back? Show me the back. Number 7 on the Parks. Nice.
Number 7.
Nice. I like it.
And look at all that LCA broadcast and stuff.
I know. That's very nice.
Benny, you'll get a kick out of this. On the left sleeve.
Yeah. It's the Brace Sprint Pack logo. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm going to be in Valencia. Snicky's going to be in Valencia. Werewolf's going to be in Valencia. Apple's going to be in Valencia. Like, there's so many people going to Valencia, man. We've got a little group chat going together. We're all...
Yeah, Apple's was the one that missed Dallas. I got to be the one that misses Valencia.
Yeah, so we're pumped, and I have a bunch of these. We're going to be wearing them during the event, and I'm going to be so excited. I ended up 24 jerseys all told. So,
wow.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Wow.
The casters that bought them, unfortunately, will not get them in time because of shipping and everything like that, but they'll have them after the event. So that's what I'm going to be watching in 2 weeks' time, Benny.
Are you not taking them with and giving them out to the people that bought them there?
Well, that's the thing. The talent isn't in Valencia. The talent is in Sweden. So I can't give it to them right then and there. I would love to do that.
When you said talent, I thought like Snicky.
Oh no, Snicky is getting one.
Too,
they are, but they're not. No, they are talented. They're just not the casters. So like, B-Dog, Lucy, and Affinity all bought one. So they are all gonna get one after the event, because I'm basically I have to give their jerseys to Snicky to then ship in the UK. So I'm not absolutely breaking the bank on shipping charges from Canada to the US.
Oh my god, yeah. I had to ship like a picture frame to the UK. It cost me like $64.
Dude,
I was like, what the hell?
I paid like $330 in duty fees to get these over the border. I did not realize it was gonna be that expensive. Dude, HST rocked me to my core. But yeah, 24 jerseys in total, which is awesome, and I'm going to be wearing mine at the event. We've got the primer coming up. We got the primer coming up next week with a very special guest. I'm not going to mention who yet, because that's always a good surprise.
That's a little surprise for you,
Benny.
Also.
In the next 2 weeks, what are you watching / what are you doing? Oh, sorry. Before you go over, sorry, I forgot one more thing. Shimmer and Karma are playing each other in an intermediate match. I'm going to try and cast that coming up this week.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, somebody mentioned it to me, so I gotta talk to I'm gonna talk to Emily. I've been doing most of the season.
It's the end of the season too, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's
Flag
coming up.
Freshman is 6-6. It's one of their best showings in advance in a long time.
Yeah.
So
wow, it's their return.
They look to be getting better. They're over boot camping now. They're flying out.
They literally, they flew out today. So yeah, Karma and Shimmer. I'm gonna try and find when that match is. I'm gonna try and cast it for them. So, anyways,
definitely.
Benny, what are you watching? Sorry about that.
Well, I think there's only one thing you can watch, and that's gonna be Valencia, mate. So we got Valencia.
Yeah.
Right. We have a Cash Cup this weekend. I feel bad for the Aussie girls because I'm actually out of town Saturday morning.
I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I'll take care
So
of it.
I have a friend who's coming in from out of town Saturday morning. They're passing through.
Yeah.
So we're going to get breakfast. So it's like I can't stay up late because we're going to get breakfast. But
Benny, I'll take care of it. Don't you worry.
Okay, appreciate you. But we have that this weekend, and then we have Valencia, and then the following weekend we have probably another Cash Cup. They haven't announced yet, but probably will be the last Cash Cup of the year. And then that's it. It's a player break. It's over. It's Minecraft time. So
you're already in the
what am I
Minecraft
watching?
time, Benny.
Yeah, what am I watching? I'm watching Valencia, mate. Parks. I think I know the answer, but what are you watching?
We literally just did me. What?
Yeah. I mean, that's true. But I didn't actually get to ask you. I didn't be like, Parks.
Yeah, I guess.
He's watching international shipping costs.
I'm watching
apparently.
international shipping costs skyrocket. I'm watching somebody mess up the LCA broadcasting tweet. So I think that's the time to go.
Sounds good.
We're going to take care of some stuff on the other side. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back in a little over 2 weeks' time. I'm not going to be home for the Monday to get the episode. I'm going to be flying back on the Tuesday. So the next regular episode, the episode 32, will be out just a little bit later, but we're not skipping that week at all. There's going to be so much to talk about, man. So much to talk about. So have a good night. Have a good week. We will see you next week with the primer and more coming up down the road. Until then, have a good night and take care.